Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, the Ruler School Circuit Series now taking orders on our Q4 2024 circuit kits, and our guest lecturer members, Fight Ramen. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will, including the beginning of news spoilers and Mike being back in the old office again, to Office Hours, your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast, featuring me, DMO73, and I'm joined, as always, by Paul Reisman.
Vote for Big Mac McChicken to stay. Do it.
Okay, and Mike Rance.
Vote for Jeremy to realize that I'm in the same office I've been in the whole time. I've been here the whole time.
The whole time. Mike
The
is truly
whole
our,
time.
he is our Sam Reich. He is our Sam Reich. So,
I don't have remotely the same look. Paul's more Sam Reich. Paul Reichman.
Paul Reichman. Anyway, so we are here as always. Thank you all so much for being here. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, specifically all the hype about the new ABC stuff. We're also going to chat a little bit, if we have time, about our thoughts about Worlds, because this week worth of content is catch-up week. We're going to be catching you up on tournament reports. Paul has an excellent video breaking down about Mask. We've got some deck profiles to get you caught up with. Next week, we have a feature match and a couple of deck profiles for stuff that we have recorded, including Snake Morphed Leica, which is a lot of fun. That'll be next week, because we will not be here next week because I will be in Japan. So we've got some pre-made content for you to enjoy next week, but this week is catch-up week. And so today, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. ABC spoilers, huge amount of news that come out of those. And so we got a lot of stuff to get talking into there. And as we're going to jump into it. So let's start with Mr. Aristella, the Returned King. A ruler, one of the rulers that is in the light deck. One of the light decks. We're not sure which one. One of the light ABC decks. That is a human king, 12 Sacred Knights. 12 Sacred Knight resonators gain quick cast in all zones. Pay 1 to discard a 12 Sacred Knight. Search for a 12 Sacred Knight. So the traditional grim fairy tale pitch search effect, only our 12 Sacred Knights. A God's Art of pay 1 white. Search your hand or deck for a card named the Great Wall of 12 Sacred Knights and put it into the field. If you searched your deck, shuffle it. And an Awakening of 2 white to Judgment. And now I'm going to shift this to behind all of us here. We have Replicant Aristella on the J-Ruler side. Protect, First Strike, Barrier, total cost 1 or less. Enter, search your deck for two mono attribute 12 Sacred Knights with total combined cost of 2 or less. And different, is it 2 or less? Yes, total combined cost 2 or less and different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand and the other into the field. Then shuffle your deck. A second God's Arts, Replicant of the 12 Sacred Knights, pay 1 white. Until the end of the game, you may play all God's Art abilities of cards with members of the 12 Sacred Knights in their name. Already played this game an additional time. So, also a thing that Aristella has done before with recharging God's Arts. That's pretty neat. And he's a 7/8. That's our first bit.
Woo.
Being able to only have to play one wall.
I'm getting you all of these, so don't worry about it.
It's okay. I'm ready to get spammed.
Being able to just put out, like, only have to worry about playing one copy of Wall and only have to worry about getting it out once it's relevant. Because a reminder, 12 Wall now only has text if you have 2 12 Sacred Knight resonators. Kind of good for deck thinning purposes. Also good in ABC, right? Because you can play it in ABC and then just like get the wall when you're ready for it. I need to see more 12 Sacred Knights. I will say white has had the most of the 12 Sacred Knights. Olgaria, there's the white 2-drop quick cast one, Raymond, Rumsfeld, and then the new white 1-drop that we'll talk about here in a little bit. So it has had the most of the attributes, which makes sense for ABC. I'm curious as to exactly how the 12 Sacred Knight Wanderer deck would look. Particularly because I think they need a stone that produces every color for 12 Sacred Knights and counts as all 5 magic stone types for their like enter flicker effects or whatever. Now if they got that, like if that's the box topper promo, is that exact stone as described, like produce 1 will of any color for 12 Sacred Knights counts as all magic stone types, then we're off to the races. Like then 12 Sacred Knights will be a legitimate like we're in. Like we're here. But we need to see where that comes from first. Paul, any other thoughts?
Correct.
Great. Great.
I'm underwhelmed by 12 Sacred Knights at present.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, fun thing about them is that this is playable in Wanderer, so you can make like a legitimate 12 Sacred Knights deck instead of just being like, well, I can kind of make 12 Sacred Knights happen in ABC.
Yeah,
that's something pretty cool about this.
That is the one thing about it, is that like all of the rulers that we're going to see, all of the cards that are released in the ABC decks are Wanderer legal. So like that's pretty nice, right?
yeah.
Next up, we have the Tale of the 12 Sacred Knights, Mythic Regalia. Card has all magic stone types. Look at that. When this card is discarded, if you control a 12 Sacred Knight J-Ruler, put this card into your field rested. Tap, produce 1 will of any attribute. Spend the will only to play 12 Sacred Knight spells. You may return this card to its owner's hand. Which, hey, by the way, then like you're gonna get to then cheat it back in again, which will then trigger the resonance ability of all the 12 Sacred Knights that you have on the field, because it'll count for all of their resonance. Hey. And at the beginning of each player's main phase, that turn player chooses another player. If the turn player has less life than the chosen player, the turn player gains 400 life. So it's a little bit of a group hug kind of effect.
Makes me feel a warm and fuzzy inside.
I love you guys. You're my best friends.
Yeah.
My best friends.
It's neat. It's a neat card for sure. Not insane. I like they learned the lesson of the Pilgrim Memories Grim contract in the fact that this has Mythic. So we can't just go Dark Alice, discard 2 Grim contracts, reanimate both of them immediately. Like whoops. Gain a billion life, produce a bunch of extra will. Yeah, they learned their lesson on this one.
Oh yes.
But the fact I think the fact that this will trigger every single 12 Sacred Knight that has a resonance that's on the field, like, means this scales insanely quickly. Like, if you have 3 12 Sacred Knights with resonance abilities, and you go, pay 1 quick cast, discard this, go search for another 12 Sacred Knight, reanimate it, resonance, like, oh, that seems pretty good. Like, that seems like some good value to be had there.
Are there any 12 Sacred Knights that... Oh, wait, no. Sorry. I thought this had to be discarded by the effect of the 12 Sacred Knights. Never mind. This is just sick. This is just insanely...
Yeah. It just only reanimates... It essentially only reanimates if you have that 12 Sacred Knight. So it's for Aristella. Like, it's for the replicant Aristella. Like,
there's no other...
clearly.
Yeah, there's no other ones, right?
Yeah, because I don't think that the original Aristella is a 12 Sacred Knight. I think he's just a human prince. And then we have... the dragon's horns are so majestic that they block the dragon's name, and I can't read it well. Dragon of the Crimson Moon. So is
what a name.
Furyu, the Dragon of the Crimson Moon. 8 drop. Mythic flying barrier, total 2 cost or less. Insanely relevant, bumping from total cost 1 or less to total cost 2 or less. So now we're suddenly having to spend 3 drop cards to try to answer this guy, which is kind of nuts. This card gains the following text at all zones as long as you control an Arcana J ruler or a light 12 Sacred Knights ruler. So again, usable in any ABC deck because you'll all have an Arcana ruler, or a deck where you have Aristella Replicant. You pay 1 less to play this card for each 12 Sacred Knight card with different names you control in public zones, which includes the ruler area. Just a heads up. And it does say 12 Sacred Knight card, not resonator, just card. So the regalia also counts to discount it. Resonators.
Zealous.
Also zealous, yep. Resonators your opponent controls cannot attack.
Oh.
Seems pretty good on a body that's 15/15 with barrier 2 cost or less.
Yeah, the fact that it can't be
And
targeted
flying.
and has the attack stopping, that's actually kind of insane.
Enter,
Oh,
heal
you
all.
didn't block me? You can't attack me either. Pretty good.
Enter, heal all astral rulers you control. Enter, perform the following effect 2 times. If you played this card, destroy a non-magic stone, non-12 sacred knight entity. So just, if you cast him, pop 2 things. I actually really like that. I honestly, I would be okay with us getting more enter effects that are locked to casting a card. Like, I think we've had this world where really good enter effects get, like, just shoved into, like, how can we cheat it in? How can we reanimate it? As opposed to, like, what if we just cast this card? And so making it so that you have to actually cast this card is pretty good. That being said, there's a real world where this guy just costs 2.
Yeah.
Like, seems good. Seems pretty decent. And the artwork is sick.
Mm-hmm.
The artwork on this is insanely cool. Can't wait to see what it looks like full art.
I'm gonna play the Quick Cast Alice from the Alice Origin starter deck.
Oh, that lets you
makes all your
name?
things. Yeah, just gonna name 12 Sacred Knights and just hard shove this dude. It's gonna
Yeah,
be great.
absolutely. For sure. I would do that.
Oh my gosh.
I would do that in the blue-white ABC deck, right? I mean, like, because you're not going to get, if you're playing like blue-white ABC, you're not going to get a super wide range of the Archon of the 12 Sacred Knights anyway. So suddenly you have this 3-drop that you flash in, pay 0, make everything a 12 Sacred Knight, and then cast this guy for 2. And you're like, it seems great.
Pop 2 things.
This card seems so good in a vacuum, but into Therapist and Mask, it's kind of rough.
Yeah. That's why Therapist is banned in ABC.
Therapist is banned in ABC, which is important. Mask doesn't.
He's banned.
Mask doesn't really affect this card if you've committed to board already, though, because Mask doesn't remove races on board. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. So this guy could still be discounted in that vein, but I get what you're saying. Reuse artwork from a dragon token? Really?
I think I know which one he's talking about.
Is it a dragon from like Valhalla era? I do not remember this artwork at all.
I think it is a dragon from Valhalla. Unfortunately, I don't think we have all of the token arts in
I mean, like,
game.
if that, fine. I'm okay with that. If it's ever artwork that was, like, I'll go on record. If it's ever artwork that they used in, like, OG Valhalla Cluster, use it again. It's fine.
It basically
Oh, it's from Alice Cluster?
Really? I do not remember this artwork.
I am looking this up right now.
It was both an art from Valhalla and later used on a token. Huh.
Interesting. The more you know.
I'm fine with it. It's gorgeous. Give it its own actual card.
Might be Light Dragon's Egg.
The art from the light.
Later.
Yeah, we'll find it later. Well, either way, cool card. Now let's get into some more cards. We got Pink Butterfly, 2-drop quick cast Fairy Ninja. It's a 4/5 with Mythic and Flying, and Consensus, the new keyword. So let's talk about Consensus because we have our first Consensus card. These are cards that are specifically designed to kind of engage the social aspect of ABC format, though you can play them in Wanderer. Specifically, the way this works is if it's a Consensus card on a resonator, as the card resolves, as the card resolves, starting with the player to your left, or clockwise from you, each player gets to pick one of the 2 modes, and you perform the effect based on the number chosen, right? If it's a chant, then based on, then starting with you, as the spell is cast, you pick a mode, and then everyone else picks a mode, and whichever mode is chosen the most is the effect of the spell at resolution. So, resonators, you can get both sides of the effect if players choose both sides, right? Chants, you get to start it, and or no, I think you always get to end it. I might be wrong there. You always get to end it, and everyone gets only one effect based on the one that's chosen the most. Social aspects. Hooray! I'm for it. I think it's neat. So the consensus on this one is Fairy or Ninja. Fairy, perform the following effect X times. Put a +1/+1 counter on each J/resonator you control. And Ninja is search your deck for a ninja card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. God's Art is Virtuous Stella's Ninjutsu. Tap or pay 1 white, rest all non-ninja J/resonators. If this card is battling, remove it from battle. I think this card is really good. Like, in ABC and in Wanderer, I think this card is very good.
All the time you're going to be picking Ninja to just get her to be like a
Yeah.
one.
So
And
yeah,
your opponent's like, oh no, I don't want you to draw 2. Here, have a +1/+1 counter, and then she's like,
on everything that you control.
right.
Right? You choose first on resonators, you choose last on chance. Yeah. But like so like this, think of it this way. This is a 2-drop 5/6 that puts a +1/+1 on every other resonator you control and searches you a ninja to replace itself, and then has a God's Art. Oh, and by the way, has flying. That seems pretty dang good as a buff to hide. Like, that seems like a great hide card. Like, this is just very, very good. Like, it's a very, very good card. It's good for Wanderer, and it's good for like ABC constructed, both.
It's also just like a decent fairy.
Yeah, it's also a great fairy. Imagine all those fairy tokens suddenly becoming 5/5 flyers. Nothing to shake a stick at.
Oh,
It's fine. Your opponent has the big dragon out, so they can't attack anyway. Next up, we got Hyde's Meteoric Dive. So this is a virtuous skill. Woo. 2+4 void. Pay 1 void less to play this card for each player in the game. Starting with the next player, each player chooses a non-Magic Stone, non-J-Ruler entity. Remove from the game each entity that has been chosen more times than any other entity that is tied as the most chosen entity. This card is such a neat card in ABC because I legitimately will tell you not that there are times in ABC where we go, okay, everyone at the table agrees this card needs to answer it. This is the card that we need to answer. Do we have a way to do it? No?
Nice.
Great. Now we do. Like, there is a card that you can now pay 2 will for that says, we at the table agree that this is a problem. So we're going to get rid of it now, please. And I like that for social games. I think that's very fun for social games.
yeah.
This is cool. It's terrible outside of ABC. Like,
Yeah, do not play this outside of it.
yeah, don't.
This is objectively bad.
Yeah. But in ABC, very cool card. Like, if you're a white deck, I see no reason to not play this. It is 2 cost, answer the problem. And I think that's great in ABC format. It's a gentleman's card. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because it removes it from the game instead of destruction. So it also means... Here's the other thing that's important. It, A, gets around a turn because it RFGs it. B, doesn't target. Because it's choose. So you just get to say, we at the table agree, this needs to go. And then it goes. Then it's gone.
And it's gone.
And it's gone.
And it's good.
Next up, we have Offering of the Sacred Light. You pay 1 to play this card for each player in the game. So it's a 1-drop.
What is the point of this text?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I think it's to make it. I think it's so that it can't be Garian, right? Like, you can, like, a Garian can't cancel this because it's base total cost 3, but it's a 1-drop. Anyway, choose 2 players. Each player chosen this way gains the next spell you play. Cannot be targeted by wind spells, wind activate abilities, water spells, or water activate abilities until end of turn, until the end of the turn. Draw a card. If you control Mika or Messiah, instead search your deck for a card named Angelic Battle Barrier, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. I honestly think this card is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Like, pretty
We're
dang
getting-
good.
I haven't seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I haven't seen specific attribute hate.
It's been a
mentioned on
bit.
a card in Force of Will since I'm pretty sure the Barrier Doggo from like LEL.
We've had a little bit
Oh,
more.
yeah.
We've specifically had there was Call to Nature, which specifically killed a water or light card, like specific, right? It's been a bit though.
Very interesting
Also,
that it.
Shooting Star was pro black and blue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alejandro does
Not
point out
common, though.
Alejandro does point out a just interesting point here. It's total cost 3 for the purposes of ABC deck building. So this doesn't take one of your
Fine.
1-drop slots while being a 1-drop. I like the side of this
Also
card a
really
lot.
good in Odin.
It's also really
Just
good in
saying.
Odin. Yeah, it's really good in Odin.
Really good in Odin.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and it can, if it targeted, it could target the dragon, but it doesn't do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nice part about this is the fact that it specifically is saying, it's like, we talked about this before with setting the stage of Providence, where like we talked about how you make setting the stage of Providence not as insane by making it main timing only, right? This is like
Yeah.
This is like half of setting the stage of Providence the way we wanted it to be designed in the first place, which was just, I'm going to play this. It still cantrips, just like setting the stage did, and it gives me the next spell will be protected, right? And I like that for like a chase buffer, like a chase protection spell. I like that. I think it's very nice. If this card didn't cantrip, I think it would probably quickly become unplayable. But because it specifically also replaces itself, I think it's actually it's really solid. I like this card a lot.
You notice it also does not have quick cast.
That's
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
I-
like
I-
it's
I just realized that it doesn't have quick
yeah,
cast.
it's main
My
time.
brain-
It's
brain
main
said
timing.
Give
cantrip.
players can't be like next spells can't be targeted, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be quick cast. It's just like my brain just
Nope.
immediately receives that.
This is a combo protection card or like a big play protection card that isn't, oh, look, I'm making you waste will before recovery, so it does its job whether you cancel it or not. Right? Which is, again, I think the right way to design a spell like this with how Force of Will operates. So this was a solid choice. Play offering, it resolves, then Apple Roulette for game. Again, it lets you do like, I've done my setup. The one thing that could mess me up is a cancel, so I'm gonna try and proactively protect it, and then we'll see what happens. Right? I think this is a tool to give to combo decks that isn't inherently like broken because of how Force of Will mechanically operates and how the sequencing of turns goes. So, it's YouTube on videos that are longer than 20 minutes will sporadically play ads for people. I have it set to as little as possible. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Click on the ad and get your money.
Getting on to the
Look at
next
it this
one.
way. If you see the ad, you're helping the channel earn a penny.
Yay! Next up, we have
Impression is real. Anyway,
Charge through the desert of Sandora. It's been a bit since we've had Sandora referenced. Good old Valhalla cluster. New Valhalla cluster. This card gains as an additional cost to play this card. Pay 2 in all zones as long as there are less than 3 players. So again, ABC or it's a 4-drop. Consensus day or night. Day is J/resonators you control gain whenever they attack. They deal 600 damage to an opponent. To target player or J/resonator until the end of turn. So anytime someone swings, they just get to burn stuff. Night, this card deals X hundred damage to each J resonator you don't control, or X is the number of J resonators you do control, multiplied by 5. If a resonator would be dealt damage, put it to a graveyard, remove it from the game face down instead. And if it's a tie, you expel the card as it resolves. So essentially,
don't play this in Wanderer.
Yeah, don't.
Don't play this in Wanderer.
Don't play this in
Oh wait,
Wanderer.
actually no. Technically speaking,
If you do play
Okay.
this in Wanderer, essentially what happens is if you are playing this in Wanderer, you tell your opponent which spell effect do you want to resolve, because they'll get to pick first. So
And
then,
you're paying 4 for it, so it's useless.
like, they'll get to pick first, and then if that's not the effect that you want, if you don't accept that that's the effect that you wanted, you then get to tie and have this be a 4 cost to do nothing. So,
Don't play it in Wanderer.
don't play it in Wanderer.
Don't play it in Wanderer.
I mean, maybe you want the board wipe, I guess, right? Maybe you'd want it. I mean, like, I could see you paying 4 for it, but there are better board wipes for 4-wheel. In Wanderer, though, this is pretty neat. I think this is pretty neat. I'm very curious to see how the consensus chants influence some table space for ABC. I think it's neat.
It is, in fact, 1 sec.
Bring them out.
Neat.
There you go. Next up, we have Deep Sea. Speaking of multicolor ABC cards, Deep Sea Queen's Amphitrite. This is a 2-drop mermaid queen wizard. 4/6 with flying and consensus above or below. Above, perform the following effect X times. Obviously, draw a card. So above is draw a card. And below is each other player expels the top 4 cards of their deck.
This card's so sick. I really like this card a lot. Also, there's another effect if you want.
Yeah. White or blue, discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target J/resonator, prevent all damage that would be dealt by the chosen target until end of turn. So you make it bigger, and then it can't deal damage for the turn.
It's 2. That would have been broken, but like this is so sick.
It's also a 2-drop water resonator. Yeah, this card's good.
2-drop water resonator.
This card's also, this card's also very playable in Wanderer too, because like if your opponent picks below, then you just pick above, and this became a 2-drop 4/6 cantrip that then milled your opponent 4 cards.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or your opponent chooses below, and you're like, okay, I'll choose below too.
Yeah, lose 8 cards. Like, that's 20% of my deck. Unfortunate.
Yggdrasil's Grace this thing. Wait, hang on. Okay, wait, Jeremy.
Yep.
Ask me a question.
Yep.
If I Yggdrasil's Grace this, I don't get the consensus, right?
That is correct.
It's on
as this card enters the field.
So
Yeah, consensus is as the card enters, so you can't flicker it, right?
Paul, hear me out. We're gonna go into Candyland, Disneyland, land of make believe. We're gonna bounce this card to our hand. We're gonna play it again. We're both gonna choose below again. We're gonna bounce back to our hand, play below again, and then we're just gonna do that until our opponent has no cards.
Mill deck.
Paul, you're the resident water expert. You're the resident dolphin on card expert. Tell me more about how this is not a fantasy of mine and how it's actually gonna work.
If only there were a way in like a particular mermaid deck to bounce all 2-drop or lower resonators back
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cards in color.
If one mode is chosen more than the other, you still get both. Yes, specifically for the resonators, you perform each effect the number of times it was chosen on the resonators. So there's no tie functionality.
If it's a tie, you get
one of each.
One instance of that, one instance of that.
Yep. Specifically on the chance. Yeah, specifically on the chance there is the tie expel this card as it resolves as instead. So the resonators will always resolve.
Yeah.
This card is also a really good target for Shayla's return to just put it back in your hand,
or
play it,
or Thunder Empress's Strike and just quick cast this in.
Yeah, we've already mentioned this. Unless you didn't pick that up.
I don't know if so. Here's the question. So
it's also a really good target for cheat out Dolly. Put this card back in your hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Play Ray Asnable.
Oh, it's free. Oh, it's so free.
Yeah, so I do want to say legitimately, we do need to see
Apollo unbanned yet?
We do need to see the CR. We do need to see the CR specifically for how consensus works with regards to like flickers. I think that's important. Now, bouncing this back to your hand and recasting it, sure. But if consensus,
I want to be there.
But if consensus is specifically when a card is cast and then resolves, so they don't get to re-choose on flickers, that's an important distinction, right?
That would be a very balanced way of implementing that. Please do that.
Yeah, I would like that to be how it happens, right?
I'm playing Soul's Grace and Olivia.
Will make it happen.
But with the chance, if you vote 3-1, you only get the 1 for 3. So with the chance, if 3 players pick one effect and 1 player picks the other effect, you only get the effect that was chosen 3 times. Like, you only get the highest voted effect, right? On the resonators, you do every mode the number of times that it was chosen. If that makes sense.
So sick. This card's so sick. This card's the best.
This card is very
sick.
sick.
Dragon Statue, correct, Azure.
Yeah.
The real Azure.
I forgot. I remember cards that I played with. Dragon Statue is past my time.
Yeah, it's fine. Next up, we have X, Cat in the New World. He is a cat ninja for 1 white, 3/3 quick cast mythic. You pay 2 more to play this card unless there are 4 seal counters on entities. Not that you control, just that are on entities. Pay 1 white, remove X seal counters from entities you control. Put target ninja with total cost X plus 1 from your graveyard into the field. If you do, return this card to its owner's hand. Draw a card, and then rest up to X target non-Magic Stone entities.
Jeremy, that's a -1, by the way. I think for the total cost.
You're right.
I'm reading that right.
I can't. I'm sitting at a distance.
Are a little fucked, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And then pay 1 white, reveal this card from your hand, put 2 seal counters on target entity, you gain 200 life. This card is insane.
Gonna give it to you. What he gonna deliver to you?
This guy is so good. As someone who has been currently using Hyde's Shooting Star of Light as a will sync to put seal counters on things and then flashing it in and using it like an insane amount, this card is just that, but twice as fast. It's like, use this to put seal counters on stuff, flash in Hyde, get the same amount of stuff, but double the amount of things that Hyde gets to do. Like, this card is so good. So good. It's crazy how good this is. I'm sorry. Your Shooting Star of Light got killed earlier? That's fine. Just burn a white, burn 3 seal counters that you were producing at an insanely high rate, reanimate her, and then get all of them back on her to use again anyway. This card is insanely good.
200 life makes the difference. You heard it here first, folks.
No, it's the double seal counters and the fact that you can reanimate it, and the fact that I think the craziest part to me is this is, first off, it's any ninja.
Yeah.
It's any ninja. Rusty. No, it's not even Ninja Resonator. It's just ninja. Which means
ninja chance?
The addition, I believe, is a ninja. The one that makes all your quiz. Iga is, by the way, a ninja.
I love you, Iga. Please make Symphony of the Night 2.
Let us confirm this.
I think Iga's a ninja.
One sec. I'm there. Iga, in fact, is no.
It's not.
Cocoon.
It's a cocoon.
It is not.
Bummer. Anyway, Shooting Star of Light, though, is a ninja. And that's what matters. Because then, not only do you get to then put...
Zalus is a ninja.
Zalus is a ninja. You right.
Hyde, the ruler, is a ninja.
Not that super matters.
Bring it back.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah,
this card just
it gets expelled.
You can just Alice Pals people for nothing with X.
Yeah.
Rusty's Fox.
Rusty's Fox, a ninja, glowing spider. Yeah. People have been talking about what would they have to give Hyde without giving her contract back to suddenly make her more relevant. Hi. Hello. This is very good for her. Insanely good. Giving her a mana sink that is this good is insanely good.
Yeah.
I like this card a lot. I think it's very.
And you can only reveal it once from hand. You can't do it again.
No, you can. You can.
What? It's revealed.
Yeah. And then it unreveals itself when you're done with the effect. It is a mana sink.
Oh, yeah. You don't know what's in my hand anymore. Okay, Force of Will. Sure.
Yeah, correct. Correct. That's exactly how that works.
That's
exactly how that works.
You can just gain a bunch of life.
It makes sense, Jeremy.
No, you are not going to deal with me damage.
Yeah.
That I will not immediately.
Yeah, random life gain. Life gain. Why not? Next up we have. Yep. Next up we have 1,000 Cuts of the Butterfly. 2 white quick cast, gains Remnant in all zones as long as there are 3 players. By the way, if there are 4 players, there are still 3 players. So if you have 3 players or more, this card gives Remnant. Each player chooses a player secretly. Then those players are revealed. Non-Magic Stone that entities that the player chosen more than others or is tied for chosen the most lose all abilities until the beginning of your next turn. So in a pot of ABC, that person can be blanked for as long as you damn well please.
So I'm gonna be
So
very
we
real
all
with you
agree,
right now.
right? Jimmy's field is the worst field. We're all gonna just choose Jimmy, right?
No,
Okay, cool.
Agreed.
No, I'm
Can
choosing.
we all secretly choose
I'm choosing
Jimmy?
Spike. I'm choosing Spike. Spike's field is insane right now. And then it's miserable because the moment it was revealed that everybody wanted to pick somebody else, you have a full 4 turns of blanked fucking fields. This card is gonna be so toxic.
I think this card's a lot. I think this card's awesome. So Yo-Yo Y reveal is part of the cost is why. Yeah, that's correct. The reason why it gets unrevealed is because the cost of the card is pay 1 white, reveal this card. And so if you look at the a good kind of example of why it doesn't get unrevealed actually is the I'll pull it up here real quick, is the Cheshire Cat from Pilgrim Memories. So specifically Pilgrim Memories says pay 1 blue, reveal this card from your hand until the end of the game. So it specifically says as part of its cost, it has to stay revealed. Any other effect that's just pay 1 white, reveal this card, at resolution of the effect, it unreveals. So that's why you can use it multiple times.
I've got a real-time act-out scenario of this happening.
Yeah.
Here, I've got this card in my hand.
Yep.
Look at. Okay, cool. We're done. Also, this is my signed laureate from AG.
Yeah. No, I like 1,000 cuts. I think it's pretty sick.
Also, I found this picture from 2018 Worlds that was sitting.
Hey, nice.
I've been doing a lot of cleaning and I found a lot of fun stuff. I have 2 Force of Will bags, which is great.
The idea. So hear me out. The idea that in Wanderer, again. No. First off, no, it's not. And here's why. It's not playable in Wanderer because here's what happens. Say I go 1,000 cuts of the butterfly, and I go pay 2 before my recovery, 1,000 cuts of the butterfly. I will choose my opponent, and my opponent will choose me, and then we will both have blank fields for 2 turns.
Which means Pastor Frankenstein can recover during your next recovery phase.
Hey. Yeah, it's just 1,000 cuts is funny in Wanderer because it's just mutual girls staring at for 2 turns. We're just playing vanillas. That's it.
This card's literally just like in Wanderer. This card's just like, no.
But also no.
Stop. Stop.
Nope.
Yeah. So.
Oh my god, how many cards are there with like negative effects? This card would be really funny. Wait. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A long time ago.
1 day apiece.
How do we skill drain ourselves to make our opponent miserable?
By playing skill drain?
This is skill drain. This is skill drain in Wanderer. Oh!
How do we skill drain
the
ourselves?
equation.
By big skill drain.
Yeah, seems like we would just flip skill drain.
the equation.
Anyway, next card is Omnis, member of the 12 Sacred Knights, using the old light wizard artwork, which is very cool. 2 cost, human, 12 Sacred Knight, quick cast barrier 6/6. Choose 2 players to be referenced by other abilities of this card until the end of the game. Whenever one of the chosen players gains life, the other chosen player gains the same amount of life. The chosen players cannot gain life until the end of turn. So essentially, on the turn this thing resolves, they can't... Sorry, hold on. Let me see. It triggers. It makes it so they both gain life, and then they can't gain any more life for the rest of the turn. So essentially, it's like you get to heal once, you both heal, and then neither of you can heal for the rest of the turn. And target J/Resonator gains drain until end of the game for a tap ability.
This is just an 18 card, right?
This does certainly feel like an 18 card.
He makes your opponent gain life to win the game, right?
Well, he makes your opponent. He says if your opponent would gain life, they lose that much life instead. So when you gain life, your opponent gains life, but then they lose life.
Yep.
So nice. While this is on field, if you say, for instance, if you said while this was on field, and you did Revealing the Power of Salvation, where you gain 1,000 life and your opponent gains 1,000 life, you'd gain 1,000, your opponent would lose 400, but then you gained 1,000 life, so your opponent would gain 1,000 life, which means they lost 400. So you turn Revealing the Power of Salvation into pay 1, gain 1,000, make your opponent lose 8.
Pretty good.
Seems pretty good.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I could see this being flashed in at the end of the turn.
Yep.
And then on your turn, like just giving something drained till end of the game.
Yep.
If you give your opponent's
Which
card,
also can include itself.
If you give your opponent's cards drain and they drain, it actually hurts them.
yep.
Aha.
Especially if you have a board full of tokens, you just swing them into the rested resonator. Just keep making them lose life, gain life.
Yeah. This card's neat for
The
18.
irony.
Yeah, it's very neat for 18.
I
Nurse, burn,
really
nurse,
enjoy
burn,
card-
nurse, burn, nurse,
Nurse,
burn.
burn, nurse, burn, nurse, burn. I really enjoy
Bad
cards.
reaction to
Up to 500.
Samochi.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoy cards that let you give abilities to your opponent's cards because that's just it's an extra layer on top of everything else going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good design space that we should explore in Force of Will.
Yeah. Especially in
Now that we
ABC.
have-
It's fun. It's especially fun in ABC, right? Because then we can really play to the board, right? It's fun.
Chat, tell me right now, do you want more cards that let you target anything, not just your own stuff? Leave it in the comments. Subscribe to Jeremy. Become a member of Ruler School.
Yeah. Speaking of, we did have a new member
Good.
join today. Dennis N joined today. So thank you very much,
Yay,
Dennis.
Dennison!
So thank you. We got our first, jumping over to fire cards. We have our first fire ruler, the new one specifically. We have Ifrit, the imprisoned Lord of Flame. Daimyo resonators you control gain eternal as long as they are attacking. So the Daimyo race coming back. It has been forever since we've had that. Whenever
When
a
was the
Daimyo,
last time we had the Daimyo?
Vingolf,
Let's find out.
Vingolf 3.
No shot. There's I just spelled
Yeah, you're right. That's
Barbados
really-
from Vingolf
how do you
3.
spell it?
DAIMYO.
Oh, 'cause I'm doing basic search. Damn it.
Yeah, Barbatos, and then
Was the most recent.
also
Wait, Barbatos? Yeah. Yeah, Barbatos and
also
no, not Bruce.
how do I pronounce this? Shimazu Yoshihiro, the feudal flame
Shimazu
lord, the one that has
Give something explode.
Yeah, but those are
essentially.
both Vingolf 3
Basically.
cards.
Yeah.
those are both Vingolf 3 cards.
Wow, that's ancient history.
It has been a very long time.
Ancient cards.
Another new ruler that loses to Mask and Therapist. Okay. Anyway, continue. Although this wouldn't affect Daimyo resonators that are attacking, because again, stuff on field still gets to keep his resonators, gets his races. So they would still get the eternal. And whenever a Daimyo resonator deals battle damage to a player, recover it. This ability only triggers once per turn. Pay 1 red, play a fire Daimyo resonator from your hand without paying its cost. If you do, those gain Bloodlust. If this card would leave the field for a non-hand zone, expel it instead, and at the end of the turn, return the card to its owner's hand until the end of the game. Play this ability only during main timing. So, pay 1, cheat something in. If it would leave, it dies forever. If it survives long enough, you get to put it back in your hand. Judgment for red, play only if you control 2 Daimyo resonators. And on the flip side, it becomes a liberated primal frame. Has 6/2 with belligerence, multi-strike, and imperishable. Daimyo J/resonators you control gain eternal as long as they're attacking, and barrier total cost 1 or less. So they always have barrier total cost 1 or less. While attacking, they have eternal. And then whenever a Daimyo J/resonator you control deals battle damage, it deals that much damage to the J/resonator's controller. So essentially, if it hits your opponent,
Seems good.
if it hits your opponent in the face, it deals double damage. If it gets blocked, it also deals damage to them. Pay 1 red, put a fire Daimyo resonator from your hand without paying its cost. If you do, it gains Bloodlust. If this card would, same kind of thing. But the only difference is this one doesn't have to be during main timing. It's just any time. You can just put a bunch of them out.
Shout outs to Ifrit from Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Free.
literally just Ifrit from Final Fantasy, and I'm not upset about it.
Shout out to Free, the anime about gay swimmers. The best. Great. I love it. So good. I'm really derailing it. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Anyway, this is. I mean, this is neat. It's fine. It's red deck Gobert. I get it. Like, this one doesn't excite me nearly as much as Aristella because like. This feels like the epitome of red deck Gobert, which is we all know is not my favorite approach. It's not my favorite approach, right? So it's like
it's only Bianchi's color. That's it.
I get what people like it though, because there's something. A lot of people are saying that like if you get, because the card we're about to talk about is because keep in mind he cheats them in, but he doesn't give them anything else. Like that's the important thing here. Right. So he cheats them in, but they have to be good, which is why a lot of people are talking about the next card we're going to talk about, which is the new one, Muramasa the Demon Blade. It is an 8-drop daimyo, mythic pierce barrier non-resonator, so additions can't hit it. J/resonators gain belligerence, bloodlust, and multi-strike.
Too.
Yeah, both sides. Keep that in mind.
Oh my god.
This card enters the field without all zones as long as you control an Arcana J/ruler or Fire Daimyo. Search your deck for a Fire Daimyo Resonator, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Whenever battle damage is dealt to a Daimyo J/Resonator you control, this card deals that much damage to target player. So essentially, if they get blocked, this thing's also going to shoot your opponent. Keep that in mind. And then it has tap or pay 1 red. All J/resonators on both sides gain plus 200 attack until the end of the turn. I do want to note one thing real quick on Barbados. The 4-drop is that he does have swiftness. So that's a lot of people have been, and he is a daimyo. So I know a lot of people when they were first seeing this talked about using Ifrit's first ability to animate this guy. This guy then searches out Barbados. You use Ifrit's ability again, cheat in Barbados, rest down all your opponent's blockers, and then swing. To try to do 4,000 damage to your opponent in one go, because it'll hit, deal that much to your opponent, recover, hit, deal that much to your opponent. I would like to point out that Barbados is only a 10-1. And if you're trying to do that aggressively early enough, then you will get spot removal to death. And I know some people are like, well, you have to respect it. And it's like, well, yeah, if you see that your opponent's playing Ifrit in Wanderer, maybe don't top out on one. Like, come on. Like.
No, it's fine. Just top out.
Like,
let's do it.
Maybe just beat the aggro deck.
You should 100% tap out on turn 1 and 2. Nothing bad will happen to you. I guarantee it.
Especially, so like,
that from me.
So like, here's the thing.
The guy who's played the game in 3 years.
I know that there's this thing about like, oh, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. You don't like having to tap out on one. You don't want to be, blah, blah. But like, that's card games. Like, you adjust your play. Like, we're playing a game of reactions. Like, you're supposed to make your plays based on what you're playing against, not just head down, try to make play, do nothing.
No, blinders on.
Like blinders on, right?
Everything. You're
right?
safe from everything.
Like, if you
can do anything you want.
If you like, here's the thing. I would give them some credit. Like, I would give the arguments of, well, it's annoying that this exists, that they can just do this line, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
If it was A, not incredibly safe, or not incredibly risky to do, and B, if we were still in the era of the game where rulers weren't revealed before mulligans, we get to see what our opponent is playing before we mulligan. So you should know that, like, you should try to plan your attacks based on this kind of a thing. So it's just like, I don't understand what the problem here is. And then then...
I want to live in Candyland. I want to do everything I want to do, and my opponent doesn't play the game.
Yeah. Regardless, though, I like... The Daimyo Resonators getting some love is neat. And Muramasa's a cool card. Muramasa's a neat card. I think it's neat.
Muramasa is probably my favorite card art in this entire set. This thing is dope looking.
It does look very
Wait,
cool.
Wait. Well, what do we do to cheat out demons? Because I don't care. It's a daimyo. It's a demon. What do we do to cheat out demons?
Look for it.
Not good stuff for red. Most of the good
Definitely not.
most of the good cheating out stuff for demons is in black and only exclusively for black demons.
Abdul can search it out and pay full price for it with
Yeah,
something like
let's
100.
go. Let's go, boy. Speaking of more cool red cards, Possession of the Demon Blade, 2-drop edition with Quick Cast, Mythic, and Eternal. Players cannot gain life. Damage cannot be prevented. And at the beginning of each player's main phase, the turn player chooses another player. If the turn player has less life than the chosen player, this card deals 400 damage to the chosen player and 200 damage to everyone else. If the turn player controls a Fire Daimyo J ruler, Fire Daimyos cannot be returned to their owner's hand until end of turn, which means that his cheat-in ability won't bounce them back, so they get to stick around. Neat. This is neat.
Yeah, this is neat. Wait, hang on, Jeremy.
Bring it out.
It's neat.
It's neat. It's
Very
neat.
This headlamp's falling off. Okay.
Very playable in Wanderer.
Yeah, this is neato. I like this card.
Yeah, just a
Very
blank.
playable.
Yeah.
This card is quick cast. Yeah, this is insanely playable.
Yeah.
Come on.
It does mean that-
Quickcast and Eternal.
Yeah, I mean, it does mean that, like, it essentially puts the game on a clock, right? Because, like, I burn you, you burn me, I burn you, you burn me. Like, we're just, like, the game's going to eventually end when this card is on the field, right?
Yeah.
So, this deck is spirits from Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, making it so they don't get bounced back to hand.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
Let's
sure.
get some Maritamas going, baby. Let's go. Sure spirit.
Yatagarasus.
Wano.
Yatagarasu,
No.
let's go.
Don't say that name here.
It's okay.
Next up,
he's nerfed. It's fine.
Next up, we have Electra, Sparkling Form. 2-cost Dragonoid Knight. What's that last one? I can't remember. Flame Spirit? Dragon Knight Flame Spirit. 2/7 with Mythic, Belligerence, and First Strike Consensus. Dragon Knight gains plus X until end of game, where X is the number of chosen multiplied by 2. Flame Spirit, this card gains attacking, doesn't card this card to rest, and can attack up to Y times during your main phase, where Y is the number of players that chose Flame Spirit plus 2.
Sure spirit.
So here's the thing. If my opponent chooses Dragon Knight, and I pick Dragon Knight, then this then becomes a 2-drop 4/7 that can swing twice per turn and doesn't rest to attack.
Oh. That's pretty good.
Because if Y is 0, then it's Y plus 2, which means I still get to attack twice. So this is a 2-drop 4/7 that can attack twice per turn and doesn't rest. Neat. And then pay 1 red. Your life becomes 2,000. This card deals 800 damage to each other player.
This is technically a heal effect.
Yeah,
If you
could
get
be.
low enough.
Yeah, if you get low enough.
Sick.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
It activates all the Belial effects. You can just play
It
Belial
activates all
cards.
the Belial effect.
I'll probably.
Hey.
I would probably play this in Belial.
Hey now. Hey
Like-
now. Hey now.
Yeah.
Come on, we're thinking with portals now, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
This card's great. This card's great.
Card's cool.
Wow.
Very
Yeah,
wanderer playable, even like with only 2 choices. Very neat in ABC when you get to 4 choices. Like these, like so far with both Hyde and Electra, and I'm very curious to see. Then we have Killua, like the shooting stars, right? So Reinhardt, Killua, and Falchion. If they are all this same level of like wanderer playables, like alongside fun and ABC, hats off to the design team. Like excellent job, great work. It's very exciting stuff. Oh man, we're definitely not going to talk about Worlds because we are running out of time, but we only have a few more cards to go through, so it's okay. You play it in Berserker. Yeah, talk about an instant way to be able to turn on.
You is like a truck berserker.
Yeah. Electra's Blazing Storm, an unplayable card in Wanderer that costs 2 red and 4 colorless. You pay 1 void less to play this card for each player in the game. Starting with the next player in the clockwise order, each player chooses a non-Arcana J/ruler. Players cannot choose the same J ruler more than twice. Each player that controls a J/ruler that has been chosen the most times or is tied expels that chosen ruler. The CR specifically states that if an effect would cause you to expel the last ruler you control, it does not expel it. So in Wanderer, this card is bad. It would only be good. It would only be helpful if your opponent is a tag card, tag ruler.
Ruler.
Yeah.
I found it.
You don't. There you go. Just take a ruler, yeet it, yeet it out for sure.
What ruler?
Exactly.
I'm a Ragnarok, baby. Let's go.
Though in ABC, this is the same kind of thing. Though in ABC, there are certain rulers that once they hit board, everyone at the table knows that they are a problem. So being able to just say, "None of us want that," is very helpful. Cough, cough, Lilius. Cough, cough, get her out of here. Last of the Dragonoids is, or Descendant of the Dragonoids can get bent because that card is so annoying in ABC and I want to burn it every single time. But also, like, Reflect and Refrain is a card that a lot of people end up using. So, like, if 3 players at the table all have Reflect and Refrain, you could be like, okay, so let's just all agree that we're going to get rid of all the Reflect and Refrains. Great, those are all gone, right?
Bye.
Bye. Pay for also pay for to get rid of Mood Start. Yeah, let's just get that out of there too.
Wait, does that actually work? Because they're not gonna. Oh wait, the only thing they can. No. Wait, does that work?
So if I at the table say, I'm going to play this card, we're going to get rid of all the Reflect and Refrains as long as everyone chooses a different Reflect and Refrain, that it actually behooves every Reflect and Refrain player to pick a different person's Reflect and Refrain so that everyone loses Reflect and Refrain, right?
So in Wanderer, though,
in Wanderer, you would get to pick My List or Moodstart, and you could get rid of it, right? Because it would always
so
be.
So you somehow made it to turn 6. Playing against Miles and Moodstart.
Turn 4.
Four.
Cost 4. Because there's 2 players in the game.
Yeah.
So then it costs 4.
The text is very real and very important, and
my point stands.
It also is a blazing skill, which means pitching it into the grave for more damage and more ways to cycle, things like that.
That's
for
really
blazing
funny,
skills.
Actually.
Just play one of it.
Yeah, just play a single copy.
Play a single copy.
Next up, we have our other cards. We have 4 more cards to go. Yeah, 4 more cards.
Warrior of the Golden Army.
We'll get there. Warrior of the Golden Army. Which one is that one?
That's the 2-drop Daimyo Warrior with Swiftness, First Strike.
Yes, I did miss that one.
2 players.
Yes. Wow. Warrior of the Golden Army, 2-drop, 8/4 with Swiftness and First Strike. Choose 2 players to be referenced by this ability. Whenever battle damage is dealt to one of the chosen players for the first time each turn, this card deals that much damage to the other chosen player. Very neat in ABC because you can say, I'm attacking you, but I want to hurt you. So you get around the fact that you can't you can't attack a single player, but you're an aggressive aggro deck. You can then redirect your damage. And then tap, target J/Resonator gains Bloodlust and Pierce until the end of the turn.
Pretty
neat.
Good.
Very neat.
I like it. It's a good daimyo.
Yeah, it's a good daimyo. Next up, we have... I'm going to go to actual Ryzen and Intel first. Ryzen and Intel, Electra's Followers. Quick cast Mythic Flying 4/4 for 1. You pay 2 more to play this card unless you control an armament sub-ruler. So it's a 1-drop in Electra that's quick cast. Resonator spells with Ryzen or Intel in their name cannot be targeted, meaning that while this is on field, Ryzen and Intel just get to resolve. Enter, target a Fire J/Resonator that doesn't share a name with this card. If you control Electra or One-Eyed, a card with Electra or One-Eyed in its name in a public zone, which means your ruler or on the field, because you control them, trigger the chosen target's enter abilities.
Neat.
This card is very good. Like, very good.
Very good.
Yeah. The fact that this can mean that the fact that this means that Electra can get off of a single contract both of her flame high armaments is very good. Very good. It's a very good card. And also just like buffering Ryzen and Intel. Like this is actually an Electra buff. Like this card legitimately is an insanely good card for Electra. And it's very cool. I like it a lot. And the artwork is sick.
Yeah. So yeah, it can trigger both J Ruler forms.
Nope, not horror. It's only specifically fire.
It can't
Fire J/Resonator. So it can't target horror form. Because horror forms of darkness.
Yeah. That's probably good. But it can target Shooting Star of Fire, which is
also it can target Electra Shooting Star of Fire. Yep. So just re-trigger the 4-drop. Because somehow you didn't kill them, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, well, they're really dead now.
Very much.
Very dead now.
Cracks of the Time is still... yes, you can still crack them. Yes, falling through the cracks of time, still very good against Electra. Who would have guessed?
Very fun.
Put 'em in the
Also, a
crack.
Gears Resonator?
They've always been Gears.
Have they always been Gears?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Explosive Performance, the Clown. At least in the story, they're Gears. I think that they're original.
Oh, they are
Yeah,
Gears.
they've always been Gears. Yep.
Wow. I did not know that.
It can target any Fire J/Resonator. Oh, it targets any Fire J/Resonator. It only, as long as, and then it triggers that thing's enter effect as long as you control an Electra. So this can target any Fire J Resonator's enter effect. Again. So that opens some doors.
All not following the lore. The lore is convoluted as crap.
It is. Okay. It is. Anyway, Explosive Performance of the Clowns. 2-drop has Remnant as long as there are 3 players. Players cannot chase this card. Each player chooses a player secretly from among those players revealed. Player that has been chosen the most are tied. Banishes all regalia they control. Deals 400 damage to each player for each regalia they banished in this way.
Stop playing regalia.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm going to throw this at you.
Step.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Or that is tied. Yeah, this is insane in Wanderer too. You just
Bat.
Get him.
Get him.
Card good.
Card good. Next up we have let's see, there's 2 more left. We have Flaming Upheaval. Costs 1 less to play for each player in the game. So 2 cost if you're playing Wanderer, 1 cost if you're playing ABC. Choose 2 players. Each player chosen this way gains if a source you don't control would deal battle damage to you or to a J/Resonator you control. It deals double that much damage instead until the beginning of your next turn. They gain that until the beginning of your next turn. If you control a Fire Daimyo J/Ruler, this card deals 600 damage to each player. So what this does is this says Raging Messiah for a whole sweep of turns. And then if I have a Daimyo, I will also then burn you for 6, which by the way will be doubled. So you'll just take 12. So yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. So a 2-drop double damage, deal you 6 if I'm playing it free in Wanderer, which is alright.
It's deal 12 in Wanderer. Hits you for 12 if you're playing Daimyo, because then that damage would be doubled.
Yeah, because then you're dealing 6 after you've done the double.
Yep. So if you're playing in Wanderer and you're playing a free, this card becomes 2-drop, burn yourself 6, burn your opponent 12, Raging Messiah effect for 2 turns. Neat.
My Thunders deal 10. Yay.
Yeah.
My Split Heaven and Earth wins and ties the game.
Yeah, it immediately ties the game, right? Although it would only do 300 damage to yourself for every stone and 600 damage for every stone to your opponent. Because it specifically is if a fire source you don't control would deal damage to you. So it does make Split Heaven and Earth 3 for me, 6 for you.
Oh,
So that's neat.
Cute. I want.
But it's just
Ready
battle
to-
damage. Is it just battle damage?
It is just battle damage.
Oh, it is
All right,
specifically battle damage. So okay,
All right,
good.
just pick a
Honestly,
resonator that's just
honestly good.
split heavens and earths. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly good. But yeah.
But then why does it deal damage as part of the effect? It doesn't work with the effect.
So it doesn't even
Like, the
double
effect
itself
makes
its own
me-
effect. Yeah, it just burns.
The effect leads me to believe something, and it does not the thing that I
We
expected.
can't read. It's
That-
fine. We
okay.
can't read.
No,
It's
no,
fine.
it's okay.
Reading
You
the
can't
card
read.
explains the card.
No. You don't understand. I understand that reading the card explains the card, but as a game designer, you should make cards that are intuitive. This is not. Very important.
Fair enough.
Continue.
Reading the card may explain the card, but it does not
Silence.
intuit
Silence,
the card.
Paul.
Next up, we have our last card of the night is Double Sealing Technique. It is 1 white, 1 black. It is one of the duplicate the consensus chants. Pay an additional 2 if you're playing it in Wanderer, essentially. Consensus, Liberation, or Seal. Liberation. Each player puts up to 1 resonator from their graveyard or removed area into the field. Seal. Each other player removes 3 cards from their hand from the game face down. And if it's a tie, you expel this card as it resolves. Can I just tell you that while being a lot of work, the notion of playing this card, telling people that I want to pick Liberation, because I get to pick last, right? So I play this card, it gets around to me, and Liberation is going to win. And then after I've chosen Liberation, but before this card resolves, doing something to remove all of my opponent's graveyards from the game so that only I get a reanimate effect would be hilarious. And I want to do that. Just
This is
once.
very fun. I kind of like the idea of just making my opponent have no hand. That's really funny too.
Yeah, that also is gross. The idea of just like, hey, remove 3 cards from your hand from the game, please.
Hey, you can't play.
Oh,
Stop. Put him down.
Yeah. For sure. This honestly feels like 2-cost reanimate. Like it's a 2-cost board wide like monstery board, because the likelihood that anyone at the table would legitimately pick Seal is like non-existent, right? Like it's just
I
not
want
good.
nobody to have fun. Right.
Yeah. Like I don't think any single person would play this and be like, "Oh yeah, I think I'll pick Seal. I'd like to have 3 of my cards from my hand get expelled." Like no. So in Wanderer, this is a 4-drop double reanimate, which we have 4-drop single reanimates. So I don't know why you would play this in Wanderer.
we have one final card.
We do? What's the one final card? What did I miss?
Number 0 anti-magic.
Oh, I did miss number 0 anti-magic. You are absolutely right. Hold, please.
Might be
Oh,
wrong
here
the
we go.
majority of this podcast, but at least I was right.
Hold on.
Now.
You're absolutely correct. That's on me. Let me pull it
Jeremy,
up.
Come on now.
I know.
I thought you were the shill to lead us to Valhalla.
I clearly not.
All right. Somebody else in
Clearly
chat,
not.
pick up the shill mantle. We need a new shill.
Okay, sorry.
apparently.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm
Sorry.
so
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Number 0 anti-magic. Here it is. 2
There we go.
cost as this additional card to play this cost pay 2, so it's a 4-drop in Wanderer. Consensus, absorbed or dissolved. Remove all spells and abilities on the chase from the game, then draw a card for each spell and ability removed this way. Or remove all spells and abilities in the chase from the game, produce green, white. This to me is like, and then tag is expel this card as it resolves. I honestly like, cool to give green, white something to get into the late game of ABC, because there does become a world when you're playing ABC as the green, white deck. And Patrick, you can feel free to correct me too, because I know you play green, white. But when I've been playing in green, white pods, there does just hit points where the green-white player just like doesn't have enough, because people are just like, well, we're just going to take our time, and then we'll have so much will that it won't. Like the green-white player will have to work too hard to stop everything, and so then it feels bad, right? Or it gets so out of hand that the green-white player can't actually manipulate the table very well. And I like this card for exactly being able to do that. Like, it is a one-cost way for a green-white player to say, like, I know we're all fighting. I'd like to get in on the fight without fully tapping myself out. You have to know when to stop. Yeah. I think most of the time this is going to be a dissolved. Like, I think 95% of the time this card is going to be chosen as dissolved. The idea that I would ever, as an opponent of someone playing this card, the idea that I would ever choose absorbed is like non-existent. Like, I'm never going to give my opponent the chance to draw a card for every card of mine they stop. So I just think this is, which essentially this means this is just a free clear the chase spell for green white.
Yeah, very powerful.
Which I think, I do think legitimately gives green white a needed bump in ABC power. Like, green-white has honestly felt like one of the weakest color combinations in ABC. Like, it's there just to be annoying, but it never wins pods. So a card like this is something that I think is legitimately good for green-white. So there's that.
Yeah.
Got a message. What is this message?
We got some reveals of other cards, but we don't know their effects yet.
That is true. We're still waiting for some stuff.
We got the magic stones, right?
Well, those were announced from the Worlds prizing, that the players at Worlds will be getting the custom art character dual stones that we had previously guessed on this podcast and were in fact the original 10 dual stones. We got to see the artwork for the 5 new rulers, as well as the multicolor set of the multicolor ABC cards, but not any of their text. So we don't know what any of them do. So we'll have to see exactly what those bring to the table. But I, for one, am very excited for the ABC stuff. I think it's a lot of fun. Very clearly, it's a good blend of stuff that's only good for ABC, pseudo-playable in Wanderer, and playable in Wanderer, which I think is a good blend for this product design. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, unfortunately, because there's no podcast next week, unless I can teach Paul how to stream while I'm gone.
The fact you're even opening the door.
World's predictions. Every deck is going to play Darkness. I don't think that's true at all. I think that there are very viable non-Darkness decks
Maybe
in
people
Worlds.
will start respecting Mask.
Maybe. We'll see.
Not likely.
Probably not. If Converging Mills is to anything to be, Converging Mills in Milan is any kind of indicator. But we'll see how it goes. And like I said, this week's catch-up week. Next week we'll still have no podcast, but feature matches and stuff. And then go check me and Lance Maverick out on the live stream for Worlds on the 26th and 27th. Over on the official YouTube channel. We're very much looking forward to doing that and bringing you that coverage and seeing what comes out of it. So thank you all so much for being here. This has been a wonderful time, as always, talking about new cards and getting hyped. And until next time, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined, as always, by Paul Reisman.
Vote chicken Big Mac so we can keep it in the United States. This is the most important force of will thing that we can possibly do. Okay? Keep the chicken Big Mac in the United States. Vote for it. Do it.
Okay.
Trust me.
And Mike Rance.
Vote for Paul Reisman as CEO of McDonald's and Burger King, just so that we can ensure that the chicken Big Mac stays exactly where we want it to be.
Yeah.
And that it's spread to
Bring
other
them
places.
together.
Bring it together. Bring everything together.
Chicken fries Mac. Let's go.
Voting consensus. Voting consensus. Let's go.
Class dismissed.